For this installation, we're going to be replacing our mechanical brake caliper with a cable-driven hydraulic brake caliper. So we're still going to use this cable, and we're going to remove the mechanical caliper off and put the hydraulic one on just like this. We're going to utilize the existing cable and insert it into our hydraulic brake caliper. And this is a great way to upgrade your mechanical brakes to somewhat hydraulic. Even though the brake levelers and the wire above it's not going to be hydraulic, this will be, and it should give us better stopping power and less maintenance. Let's go ahead and unscrew this brake caliper first. You want to make sure you don't lose any of this hardware because it will fall off. So you want to make sure you don't drop it all over the place and you know which way it goes back on. I'm just going to pull this off and keep it in the same order that it is there, just like this. We have the same thing. So we'll replace those spacers just as we took them off. So you can see the brake caliper goes into the rotor just like that, and then this was mounted right here, just like that. And we're going to just pull this off and put our new brake caliper on. Okay, now we want to remove the hardware off of our new brake caliper, our hydraulic one. So we're just going to go ahead and unscrew this and use that existing hardware we took out, the bottom part here as well. So now what we're going to do is remove this spacer, and what that does is it keeps the brake pads from closing because you don't want those pistons to come in and close. So what we're going to do is just move our mechanical brake out of the way here really quick and show you how this is going to go on. So we're going to take and line this up right onto the brake caliper just like that, and then it's going to touch just like this. That's how that's going to go on. But we're going to put our spacers in there to pull it back just like so. So we have our two spacers on the screw now, and we'll stick the other two spacers on here. Line that caliper up on the brake rotor just like that, and then we'll get it started here. If we can get just like a turn or two on it, that'd be perfect. Great. Now we'll work on the bottom bolt. Two spacers on each side, slide them through here, and then our two spacers here. So two spacers at the top, two spacers at the bottom. Okay, just get them started. So basically, we're almost done with this installation. Okay, now you can see we have the bolt with two washers on the inside and two washers on the outside, and the same thing at the bottom. Two washers on the inside, two washers on the outside, and we're just going to rest it right in here into place and tighten it down, but we're not going to over tighten it, but that's what that's going to look like. Hope everything lines up. So let's go ahead and crank it down a little bit. We'll have an idea how everything's going to line up for us. We don't want to make it too tight because we still have to line up the brake caliper on the rotors, and I'll show you how we do that in a little while. We just want to make sure that this caliper is loose enough that it moves around for us. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the cable that's on the end of our old brake caliper. We're going to cut it here, pull it through, and feed it through our new one right here. I probably should have loosened that up before we took it off. It's tight. So this wire is going to feed through here, and then it's going to come down here and go through just like it is there, but it's going to do it through the hydraulic brake. We'll need to cut the cable end cap off. You could purchase a pair of these clippers. They were only like 12 bucks on Amazon. Probably nice because then you don't fray it up trying to cut it some other way. So here we go. Just give it a little cut there. Perfect. We'll pull it through. And now we're going to feed it through just like so. We're going to loosen this up. And feed it right through here. We'll tighten everything down later, leaving everything nice and loose while we're working here. Slide this through. Tighten it down a little bit here. need to get a new cap on here because this wire is starting to come apart. We don't want that to get all frayed. Okay, so now that wire's fed through there. Next thing we want to do is center the brake caliper on the rotor. So what we're going to want to do, now that this brake caliper is loose, we want to come up top here, come up here, and we want to hold down our front brake. You don't want to take your hand off of it. You want to hold it down, because now what that did, by holding it down, is it centered, it closed this brake, and it's centered on the rotor. Now that we're holding it down up top, we're going to go ahead and tighten this down, both screws. If you have someone to help you, that would be great. If not, you can do it on your own. You just have to make sure you don't let go of that top brake. I've used bungee cord and stuff before to hold it, but this is how I do it. And now that it's pretty tight, I'm going to let go of it. That should have centered the brake on the rotor. Let's see if there's any scraping going on. Perfect. Now when you press down on that brake, you're going to have hydraulic brakes. Now if for some reason your brake caliper is scraping on your rotor, go ahead and loosen them back up and repeat the process to make sure they're nice and centered. Now keep in mind, you're just putting these on. There could be some fine scraping, and that'll go away as you're riding and you bed those brakes in. Let's go ahead and do the rear brakes, and this time we'll speed it up for the sake of timing, and then we'll see our results. Super simple installation. Now let's see how it did on our brake test. So there's no doubt that this bike stopped better with the cable-driven hydraulic disc brakes versus the original mechanical brakes. And we proved that on our test. When we hit 20 miles per hour and hit our brakes, we were able to stop about 3/4 of a parking space sooner. And then when we did it at 28 miles per hour, the same thing, about 3/4 of a parking space with the hydraulic brakes. But when we hit speeds of about 30 and 31, we stopped about a half a parking space sooner. So a little bit less as the bike got quicker speed. So are cable-driven hydraulic disc brakes really worth it? I guess that's just going to depend on you. If you have an e-bike that you really like, it has mechanical disc brakes, and you wish that they were hydraulic to stop a little bit better, then cable-driven hydraulic disc brakes are a much easier assembly. You're not replacing everything from the brake levelers down. You're just changing out that caliper. Really simple. But if you know that you want hydraulic disc brakes, there's no doubt about it. Purchase the model with hydraulic disc brakes, and then you have a complete hydraulic system. So that's going to wrap this one up. And now that we replaced our mechanical disc brakes with cable-driven hydraulic brakes, this bike stops better and quicker. So like always, until next time, ride safe, have fun, see ya.